Hi, everybody. John Wellman at johnwellman.com here. I've been wanting to do a tech walkthrough for a while. Ever since COVID hit, a number of churches have tried to figure out how to move forward, how to have church. And our church was no exception. I am the associate pastor at Calvary Baptist Church in Elko, Nevada, up in Northeast Nevada. And this church has never live streamed until COVID at all. We did record sermons and things like that, some special events, weddings and things, and we put sermons on the website, but no live streaming to speak of. And then COVID hit, and we were left with, how do we move forward? How do we have church when our people can't come in the building? And so we came up with a system that has worked fairly well. And it improves every week. We get better at things every week. We change things almost every week. There are additions coming up that I'll talk about in the video, but just want to give you kind of an inside view of how we make CBC Elko Online, that's what we call our live stream ministry, how we make that work. Take a look. So we are basically going to go left to right in the sound booth. This is our main projection computer over here. Here's our label maker. On the projection computer here we have Pro Presenter with the scene for this coming Sunday. As you can see, keep it pretty tiny because this is actually automated by my laptop, which lives backstage, which will be the subject of another video. But that's where all of the cues are coming from to change the slides for the songs at least. So you see here we have a pre-roll that plays and our welcome and then the first song. And this is where our pastor gets up and does the welcome and those kinds of things. And so those slides we actually run manually. Then the automation takes back over, runs the next couple of songs, and it runs the bumper for the sermon, and then sermon slides and so forth run from there. So most everything up until the sermon is done automatically, controlled by Ableton via MIDI cues. My laptop lives, again, backstage, but it is networked in to this computer just through our network, so that we tried doing it through Wi-Fi, but that didn't work. And we ended up, when we had our sound system installed, which we'll get to in a second, we had a redundant cable run because it's kind of a distance between our soundboard and our platform, which is way up there. But an extra data cable was run, so we just used it, and so it's actually wired into the same splitter actually. So much more stable. We have not, Lord willing, won't ever, but we have not yet had a drop in our connection. So usually keep a clock up also, just so that when we start our online service and so forth, everything is synced to this time, just to make sure everything is correct. And we typically will start, the pre-roll is 8 minutes and 50 seconds long. And that's because there is 3 minutes of a pre-roll, which is kind of a buffer just to make sure that we get online and synced up correctly. Then 5 minutes of countdown, during which I do a little 40-50 second welcome to everybody. And then there is a 40-second welcome to our church type video. And then that leads right into the first song. So just get everybody, ready to praise, ready to worship, so forth. Moving this way, this is going to change very soon. This is our lighting board, which is just house lights. It connects to a dimmer pack, which is in our back hallway, backstage area. Pretty soon, though, right underneath it is going to be another light board, because we are actually installing theater lighting very soon. I plan to do a video about that as well. So in addition to these house lights, which, isn't that pretty? So anyway, in addition to that, we are getting some spotlights and side lights and backlights, and they're all ordered. They're just ready to be hung, and we will be doing that shortly. So pretty soon right there will be another light board. There is the Amazon Fire that plays our pre-service music, which goes until the pre-roll starts, just for make sure we're not streaming anything that's got copyright issues, that kind of thing. There are our wireless mics that are badly needing a update. So Lord willing, soon we'll do that. Sound system. So here we come to the X32, Behringer X32. This is our soundboard. We have connected it via the network cable that I mentioned before to 2 stage boxes that have the rack mountable 16 channels. We have a total 32 XLR inputs. We use the XLR inputs for the microphones back here, and then on one side, our stage right box has 16 channels available, and the stage left has 8. That's 32, right? 16, 8, 8. Yep, that's right. So we have our mics set in the top layer, which you can see. Actually, you can't see because I was working with some snippets earlier. So top layer, and then it's backwards. Instruments in the top layer, mics in the second layer, and then effects and so forth. We run in-ears for singers and musicians. The singers get wireless, the musicians get wired. And then this is how we get our signal. There are a number of ways to do this, and this took me a while to kind of figure out the best way to get sound to online, because you do not want to send a front of house signal to your online, because it's not designed for that. So what we ended up doing is we have an aux bus left and right, so 2 aux sends basically. So I can send anything I want to the left and to the right there, and then those get sent to a matrix, left and right, and that's what comes out of the back of our board into our live stream. So that matrix has compression on it, a little bit of EQ just to make sure that it's not peaking and those kinds of things, but we can send exactly what we want from there. So the tricky thing is that we have the card for this X32 that allows it to do a virtual sound check. So we record to SD card, and that way we are able to play back exactly what the board sounds like and then mix that for online and then just tweak as necessary. So whoever's running sound kind of has to have the headphones on kind of half and half for the room, half off so they can hear the front of house sound, and then half for the live stream, just to make sure that it's not peaking and it still sounds good. And so far so good. We've actually gotten some pretty good results from that. We use mute groups a lot here. We've got it set up to where there's our little template. So when the band gets up to sing and everything, that unmutes all the band, the vocals, and the effects. When our pastor gets up, we hit that. Playing music before the service, we hit that. So that makes it really easy not to have to hunt for things. Just mute, unmute as you need to, and we mark that in our planning center script, so that kind of makes it a little bit easier if somebody's less familiar with how to run sound. So that's been working very well for us. Sounds really good. It comes out of those 2 speakers right there, and then we also have 2 subs on either side. Depending on when you're watching this, it's Christmas time, so there's our Operation Christmas Child boxes. So that is sound. Little headphone amp here, so 4 people can put headphones on if they need to. This is just a Chromebook, honestly, just to do chat and to launch our live stream. We use Vimeo for streaming purposes. It sends that to Facebook Live and to our Church Online campus, which is what you see there. We use Church Online from Life Church we do our live service is 10:30 Pacific time on Sundays, and then starting at 6 o'clock, because that gives us time in case we need to upload an edited, if something happens or we lose signal or something like that with the live stream and it doesn't get recorded to Vimeo, we can upload a replacement that is edited, and that gives us time to do that. So it's starting at 6 o'clock in the evening on Sunday, and then every even number hour, 24 hours a day until the next Sunday, we do a virtual service at our online campus, which is really nice, so that If you have friends and family across the country, you can actually make an appointment. Hey, if y'all will watch the 8 o'clock with me, it syncs up so that everybody's seeing the same thing at the same time. And we automate some of that too. They have a feature where you can put up different things for our connection card and, reminder for offering and things like that. That can go in up automatically. And based on our planning center script, we're pretty close to knowing about what time those kinds of things are going to happen. The image is turning very red. I think it's because I'm staring at that screen there. There we go. That's not as bad. Okay. Next is the A10 Mini. This was the first one that came out, and it works for what we need it to for the moment. There's a little preview screen there. It's got our ProPresenter feed coming from it at the moment. Ideally, we would have waited for the Pro, the one that has the multi-view. We are missing that, but right now we've only got one camera running, so we've got the computer and then the one camera. So right now we're just switching between these two, which is not hurting us at all at the moment. If we do add more cameras, we're going to look at something else, but for now, and the audio comes out from the X32 that we just talked about into the back of the Mini. So that is our preview for that. Over here, this is CBC Elko Online. This is our repurposed computer. This used to be the computer that did our ProPresenter. We switched to the iMac because of reliability. This thing could not handle the PC version of ProPresenter, but the Mac version is solid and fast, and this works with OBS perfectly fine. That right there is a tight shot from our camera, which is just a Canon Vixia, I believe it is. It's high def, so we just keep it kind of on a tight shot there, and you see there the bottom thirds that's what it looks like in the house, but that's what it looks like in the bottom thirds. We have that coming out of ProPresenter via just through the network cable, NDI, through NDI, and that's our preview, that's our program. We have a few different bottom thirds and things here, sermon titles and those kinds of things. When the service is over, we have a goodbye video that plays so that we can stop the live stream before we get into things that are more for in person, which wasn't really needed until we started coming back in person, because we were recording our Sunday mornings, and then I sat here on Sunday mornings and ran them live, anticipating the time that we would be doing a full-on live stream, which was great practice, because we just played that video, played it to whoever was watching on a Sunday morning, and fully recorded, fully edited, music and sermon and everything was kind of packaged that way. And then when we went live, end of May it was, I think, with people in the house, we just transitioned that over to doing it live and doing it through Vimeo. So it's worked really well so far. That's a little stopwatch we keep, so we can keep tabs on where we are and how much time has elapsed and those kinds of things. It's been as stable as our internet will allow it to be. Here in Elko, the internet is not very stable and not very easy to come by, at least consistently and reliably, but we rarely have any drop frames. Here and there. A couple weeks ago, for instance, we had about 5 seconds where it just dropped out completely and then came back. But again, we were able to upload a version that was edited and took care of that. So that's been working pretty well. That's our setup. That's kind of go down the line. Again, continues to be a work in progress. Next steps are going to be obviously the lights that I mentioned, installing those and getting those up and running. Oh, by the way, about the lights. They're going to be automated through Ableton as well. So the lyrics here, and like I said, we'll get to that when we get to the second part of this video. But my guitar pedal is also automated with the computer. So there's a lot of things that are being automated. The lyrics here, the lights, and my guitar sounds are all in sync with the song as it goes. So very handy to have that option there. Well, thank you for watching that video. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments or on social media. John Wellman is where you'll find me on Instagram and Twitter. There will be a part 2 where we address the backstage area, which goes through my guitar setup, some of the other things that we have going on, the interface with the X32 board, and how some of the automation works. So tune in for that when that comes out. Thanks.